all the panelists to be here. We are a little thin on crowd, so we actually thought let's be part of the crowd instead of looping ourselves in the stage. And Harsh pointed out that it's better to maybe get some other folks in as well during the conversation. So hoping to that. The topic for discussion that we have is mastering CX, customer experience in the Phygital realm. We've been talking about being Phygital since morning. We put out a report saying how customer journeys are really converging, both offline and online, and therefore leading to a full redefinition of the behavior patterns that customers are essentially showcasing. With the touch points now becoming more and more integrated, we really want to understand from you guys, given your rich experience across starting from private labels to in retail apparel to grocery to leading MBOs. So we really want to understand across all of these multiple formats, what is the insight and how are you guys really culling out customer experience, data points, learnings, and what are the specific changes that you have done in the past that has given you sort of a playbook to look forward to going in the future? And also, more importantly, what has not worked? Where you got the data, tried something, did not work. So that sort of is what we definitely want to bring out. Harsh, anything you'd want to add?
Good, thank you.
Perfect. So with that, let's jump straight right in. And let me start with Sandeep, first with you. And Shopper Stop is a very interesting and a very complex model. It's a multi-brand retailer. You have different brands, different categories. You have the national brands. You have your own set of brands, multiple different categories, huge space. Given the entire complexity that Shopper Stop as a large format store MBO that it brings, how do you guys go about culling out customer experience and customer journey? And what have you done in terms of both from understanding what is required and doing from a tech perspective of enabling some of the, or solving for some of the customer experience pain points that you might have identified?
Thank you. So I'll just define what Shopper Stop is doing, very briefly in terms of offering to the market. So it's a multi-format and a multi-channel, or we call it omnichannel, and there are various formats. So in terms of offerings, we have apparels, accessories, beauty, home. So all very, very different categories. So, and of course, in terms of channels, we are having marketplaces, physical stores, click and collect, click and deliver, and all those various channels. Now, in terms of system, customer experience, one thing, we always have been stressing on the omni-channel experience. So whatever you offer on every channel. It cannot be that, you have the point loyalty program running in a store and it's not on the online, or, you have an address or a customer care differently running, within the store or online. So everything, every aspect, or a payment system for that matter, or the point system, or the coupon system, or the credit note. So everything should be omni. So customer experience should be uniform. They could start their journey anywhere. They could, complete the journey from any other point, and they could have all the questions answered equally well through a customer care at a call center versus a customer care within the store. So having said that, if you come to how we look at the system design for that perspective, so because we are complex, so we need to focus on how we organize the data when we build the system blueprint. So if we have got our categories right, our hierarchy right, our channels rightly mapped in the system, it's very easy. The rest of things fall in place. I think that's number one focus. Other aspects are very, very simple to map. We try to see from the customer perspective. So we try to put every product manager will try to get into the shoes of customer and try to see what does customer see as when they come online, when they visit stores. So we try to provide similar experience, and we try to design systems with that in mind. So it's not that we go and try to get learnings from bigger retailers outside India and try to implement that. We try to become customer centric in all our thinking. That is what helps us to define the checkout experience within the store as well as online. So try to be frictionless, basic things. I mean, nothing different. So I think customer centricity is the focus of our system design. And like I said, if you build the initial blueprint correctly, rest of things can be managed pretty well. Whether it's your promotions, whether it's your attributes, anything. If you map your hierarchy right, I think that works well for us.
Lokesh, Kaya is a unique retailer in the sense you have a large services business, which is either procedures or treatments that are happening in your clinics, because you all call it as a clinic, you all don't call it as a store anyways. Right? But a sizable chunk of your business comes from products that are either prescribed post a treatment, post a first interaction with a professional. How do you end up balancing the constraints and the demands of a services offering and a product offering in the same channel or across multiple channels? So Kaya has its own website. Is it just for booking, or is there a way for the customer to experience all parts of Kaya on all channels?
Yeah, thanks, Harsh. So what you mentioned is absolutely correct. Our business is little niche in the segment. We are in healthcare, we are in wellness, we are in Medispa kind of business. So it's, we have all the offerings in all these segments. So see, our primary business is services, definitely. But product, we are constantly focusing on to grow it. So for that, we are constantly enhancing our e-commerce experience. That's where we recently opted for hyper-local delivery format, where we take the order from omnichannel, but we are trying and deliver it from our clinics. So that way, the turnaround time is much less. At the same time, we are able to manage our store inventory well. So, so it's actually doing pretty well. Soon we'll scale up to across all the clinics. Right now, it's live in 30 clinics. And in order to push our product business, we are constantly focused on in-store experience as well. So recently we have ventured into nutraceuticals also. So we are ensuring that all the products are being priced same across all the channels, because mostly deep discountings are available on secondary sales. That's where we are trying to cope up with. However, when it comes to experience, we are building an omni-channel experience on our website. We are integrating it with our point of sale, where you'll get to see all the information. However, putting services on website is little difficult, because those are primarily being driven by the doctors. So it's more likely that once we meet a doctor, then only we will be able to tell you that what your skin required. However, there are still certain types of services which can be easily consumed by the customer. Those we are putting onto the e-com, so that we can actually move traffic from product to services, and from other way around as well, from clinic to product. So we are trying to make our omni-channel experience more user friendly.
Great. So actually moving to the online natives, right? And Rakshit, let me come to you for Big Basket. And I was telling you, I've been a big loyal customer of Big Basket. My wife makes sure that I'm slotting my orders and deliveries every 2 weeks. So given so there's already a significant differentials in the offerings that you have in Big Basket, right? You have the overall Big Basket experience, you have BB Daily, you have BB Express, and also now that you are moving into offline as well, you're getting into Freshno, vending machines, etc., that you guys are exploring. With all of these changes and all of the different offerings, both on the online front and the entire transition to offline, how have you mapped your customer experience? Because I'm assuming there will be different touch points coming in for all of these different offerings. And how are you sort of looking to sort of solve for it? There concerted effort for each of them, or there is one solution that fits all? How are you going about it? What has really worked?
Thanks. Happy to hear from long-time customers. So, see, Big Baskets, so for those of you that don't know, we're doing BB Instant, which is the vending machine, Fresho, which is the offline stores. So there's about 20 stores where we are doing a vision-based checkout. Then there's the quick commerce formats like BB Express, which is slotted delivery, which was the original thing. There's quick commerce, which is the 15 to 30-minute delivery. There's the B2B place, where you're essentially delivering to businesses. So all of this, while they need different supply chains, I think there are some core tenets that we have tried to solve for horizontally. Right? We've decided to, for example, unify the platform experience. We've said that we'll create a platform where you'll be able to model different supply chains as opposed to, for example, writing different applications or different sets of code. So that strategy has served us well. What that has allowed us to do is, for example, venture into new areas in the grocery business. And I'll give you an example, right? BB Daily is the subscription service where you deliver milk every morning, and quick commerce, the underlying platform that services both of these offerings, is completely similar. And in a sense, what we are able to do is do a bunch of configurations, model complex supply chains on the platform, and these services are enabled. Even in the offline world, when, for example, we launch a physical store, we decided that we'll use the same supply chain principles, we'll use the same platform, and whatever enhancements that we need to make, we kind of enabled it in the on the same platform. So that's one underlying core tenet, and I think this philosophy permeates across things like customer service, things like chatbots, you name it, right? So that's one part of the story. The second part of the story is, for example, whatever's customer facing in terms of user experience, that's also powered by the same content management solution that we've built in-house. The offer engine, which is primarily driven by targeting offers to various segments, is also driven by the same kind of tech stack. So this is really the approach that we have taken, and which has kind of allowed us to experiment with different formats, different sort of offerings, both offline and online.
Shivi, you mentioned you were at Warby Parker, and now you started Clear Dekho, which is in the eyewear space. And you started at a time where Lenskart was there, and there was a lot of talk about online consumption for categories. People are moving. Every category pretty much had a cart at the end of the day to then launch a website on. But you said you were offline from day one. But there is an online store today, maybe 10%, 20% of your sales. But what are some of those aspects or assumptions that you made for online and offline, which turned out to be incorrect or non-trivial?
Thank you, Harsh. Eyewear is little complicated category. There has been a constant debate for last almost a decade or two that whether eyewear will move predominantly online or not. I have seen multiple brands switching from online to offline eventually. There are few key learnings for us as well. I think personalization and consultations is one very, very inherent part of our business, which is very thin or not very standardized in terms of online. When a customer comes to your store and they talk about eyes, they don't talk about eyewear. Eyewear is just an accessory, okay? So it's more of a patient to doctor consultation. So they talk about eyes, they talk about their usage, they talk about their work. So all those, an experience of 30 minutes to 45 minutes results into a sale of an eyewear. And that's why you will always see a higher ATV in terms of an offline play rather than an online play. When there is a repeat, there is always an upgrade. So in terms of online, we have bled a lot. We have pumped in hell lot of money. And I could not understand that how the P&L will work. It has never worked eventually. So we thought that rather than reinventing the wheel again and again, let's move to offline. Customer acquisition cost in online is not very streamlined. So there are few channels which are easy to capture. There are few channels which are very difficult to capture. Our partner programs are have a CAC of, let's say, 150 rupees. So if we partner with a local eye hospital network or a local network, we get in customer on online channel in 150 rupees, while a PPC campaign is, let's say, 400 to 500 rupees. Now I sell a glass for 550 rupees. Okay, so 550 rupees में 500 तो क्या की हो गया, फिर 40% COGS है. So मैं पता नहीं क्या कर रहा था. So I frankly could not understand. But there are few things which are very, very important, which are very core learnings from online to offline experiences. It's very easy to manage supply chain in online. It's very difficult to manage supply chain in offline because the idle rate is very high in terms of offline when the store is not properly managed, because there are standard practices, but they are violated here and there. And then we have a very, so in eyewear, you cannot be depth oriented at retail, while you need to be depth oriented in terms of inventory SKUs in online. So it's a very different concept. Especially in online, you will see the funky glasses moving in, moving out, while the traditional glasses not moving in. Retail is just opposite. Traditional moves out because customer is paying, let's say, 5,000 rupees, 6,000 rupees, they cannot experiment. Online, there is an experimental audience that just wears it and then throws it away. So I think that has been a core experience for me, and I've seen the giants move their businesses offline. I think it is very clear that if we want to remain in eyewear business or optical business, you need to be cash positive from day one. You need to check your daily P&Ls, and then only you can survive.
Thanks, Shavi. Very interesting. Dipti, coming to you, and apparel has sort of been a slightly more matured segment online, and being a digital native yourself and then moving into offline, have you also had similar experience in terms of drastically different customer behavior or the touch points being completely fundamentally different on the offline side, or which has changed from the online world? And how have you coped with it? What has really not worked? What has worked for you?
So yeah, hi. So I run Salt Attire. So we're a business casuals brand, and so we offer ready to wear as well as tailored clothing. And our USP when we launched online was about tailored fits for the Indian women, because Indian body sizes, we don't even have standard body sizes in India. Standard Indian sizes. We use UK sizes, US sizes, US size charts. So then that was the whole idea. So, our USP being tailored, a lot of our customers, so basically they came to us for tailored, but they ended up buying a lot of ready-to-wear standard size also. But still online, they continued to, so about 15 to 20% still, even though it was something, online, somebody may be skeptical about buying something tailored, but it was very seamless. They would come in, punch in their measurements, just 3 measurements, and that's it, check out. But, so this was about 3-4 years ago, and last year is when we started our retail journey offline. And offline, when we obviously have our store full with our ready to wear, but we also offer tailored, and we also keep fabric swatches if somebody wants to sort of make something specific. But offline, our tailored orders dropped drastically. So that was one thing that we saw the difference. And we were surprised because, in fact, offline we have our customer care executive who will talk to her, who will take her measurements, all that. But offline, when they come in, we realize they actually come in for instant gratification, especially women. Like, they'll come in for, they want to wear this tomorrow. So they're not going to wait 7 days. But online, they anyway have to wait 2 days. Maybe they'll wait 4 days. That's it, like 4 to 5 days. That's the expectation. So in that, we could tailor it in a day or two and send it to them. But offline, they're not ready to wait at all. So I guess that was one big customer behavior change that we saw. Even if she goes for something tailored, it'll be after she's satiated with her appetite of, like, she'll shop enough, and then maybe something that, okay, later she can come back to it and pick it up. And I guess that is one big behavior change that we saw offline. I think adding to your point of assortments, that was a very interesting thing. And in fact, since we were tailored initially when we started, and even now a lot of our business, which I want to change now, was on-demand manufacturing. So now at scale, it's not sustainable. And anyway, we make inventory for the stores. So for online, the benefit that we had is we have so we used to make a sample, do a photo shoot. So our website, we may not hold that inventory, right? But we have a lot of thousands of SKUs online. Whereas offline, you have only a limited number of SKUs that you can hold because you need to hold size sets, you need to hold like a depth in size set. So a lot of times she would come in and be like, oh, I've come to shop this and it's not in your store. So that is something that we faced quite often. But I guess the way that to solve it is we have sort of way we try to, it's not a 100% solution, but the way we try to do that is our sales staff sort of places the order for her right then and there, and we try to offer her a discount or something like that. So yeah.
No, it's interesting that you mentioned assortment planning, etc. We also wanted to understand, given the fact that you moved from online to offline, both for Clear Dekho as well as for Salt Attire, what has been the significant learnings in terms of your demand sensing data or the overall sort of SKU level data that you've been generating across geography? And how have you been able to bring that learning in terms of actually filling up the stores, identifying where to open the stores, and then filling it up?
So yeah, one, I'll talk about location. So when we, about location, so we are primarily online. And the way we came, and actually we are Gurgaon based, but when we decided our location was Mumbai. So we have 3 stores in Bombay itself. And that's because when we studied our online data, about more than 25% of our customer was coming from Mumbai. So then the idea was to get into Mumbai. And then the next step was, okay, where does she go? We also ran a poll with our customers, that if you would come to shop, what is your best, location that you would come to shop? And they were pretty generous in giving us answers. A lot of them pointed to malls. So then we realized that mall would be the step for us because that's what our TG is. So I think identifying first your location based on our online data, then identifying who our TG is and what is the kind of market that she would go to. Would she go to a high street? Would she go to a mall? What is the kind of mall that she would go to? And then trying to sort of open across. So then we contacted malls, and then malls, once they made, only when there was something available, we got a chance. And when we got a chance, we didn't leave it. We just went all in. So yeah, we ended up opening 3 stores in Bombay last year. And about, what was the other question?
Assortment merchandising for your stores.
Assortment merchandising for stores. So the first time we did it, it was, of course, again, a lot of our online data compared to what sells, highest selling items, all that would be there. And we also sort of segmented things into what is our core, what we are going to experiment, especially Bombay being another counterintuitive thing is we did, so the result that we had is we had a lot of cottons. We made specially cottons for Bombay, but surprisingly, all our, I don't want to use the word polyester, but not 100, but our mix and blends went more because I guess that's our brand, it's anti-wrinkle. Nobody wanted to buy cottons out of our store. So that was a big, again, we were like, what happens? Why is Bombay not buying cotton? But somehow, and I guess to another point that you mentioned that people so online we keep releasing a few products every week we give them that dopamine, okay, this is new, so then our repeat rate keeps increasing, and they like that non-stop there'll be something new, so they'll keep purchasing. But offline, it's not like we have to keep something, it's just like it goes by the season, and that's the expectation also. If something is there, then it's great, but it doesn't have to be every week. It's not even possible. So I guess that's the big difference.
Very interesting. Shivi, how about you? Any similar experiences? You mentioned sort of difference in impulse buying more on online. In fact, quite opposite to what Salt Attire said, but any other similar learnings and the differences?
So, very core learnings when finding stores. So, हम लोग high street brand नहीं है. So हमें टेलर मेड रिटेल आउटलेट्स नहीं मिलते हैं. सो हम लोगों को लोकल लोकेलिटीज़ में जाके रेजिडेंशियल पॉकेट्स में स्टोर्स ढूंढने पड़ते हैं. सो कोई स्टोर है अवेलेबल है, हाई वेरी वेरी डिफ़िकल्ट टू गेट दैट प्रॉपर्टी, बट इट इज़ एल शेप्ड. Okay, so we have to tailor ourselves, our business model as per the property. So that is one learning. We cannot have a set format कि यहाँ पे क्लिनिक होगा, यहाँ पे कैश काउंटर होगा, यहाँ पे, क्योंकि वो वैसी दुकान ही नहीं मिलेगी आपको, वैसी प्रॉपर्टी नहीं मिलेगी. Otherwise you have to go to high street or maybe get it tailor made. And these are old landlords. They don't want to talk to you even at all. So second, I think very very important is personalization. within the store. How do you so शुरू में हम लोगों ने 1 staff policy रखी थी because we are a small format store, 200 to 300 square feet. So we thought that in order to manage P&L शुरू में, because it's we have a very low initial buying rate. So initial हमारे stores पे footfalls नहीं generate होते हैं, and we are not a nationalized brand yet. So but हुआ क्या कि weekends में वो rush आ गया, and the guy was not able to handle, and we didn't have backup. So that was one major setback we had, and then we changed the policy. The other thing, I think, from assortment perspective, especially from our product, there are very high number of SKUs. Even if we change the color of the tip, the SKU changes. And every region has their own taste. South में gold चलना ही चलना है. आपकी अगर gold plating नहीं है चश्मे पे तो बेकार हो आप. Similarly, West में different experience है. UP का अलग concept है. So we have approximately 54 stores in UP, in almost all districts. So वहाँ पे अलग तरीके के चश्मे चाहिए. So that assortment planograms we have made region wise, and we are trying to follow that. Now that is not easy to replicate on online, because if you follow that planograms on online, customer can land on your page from anywhere. So so that is different. So that is difficult. Second is business model. We are a franchise driven chain. So franchise को मतलब नहीं है. Franchise को उसका गल्ला चलना चाहिए और month end में profit आना चाहिए. Brand आपके घर में होगा, मुझे तो पैसे चाहिए. Online में we are a brand for the consumers, right? Obviously offline as well, but there are two business models. So that is a debate we are still trying to resolve. How do we streamline that? But there are a lot of plenty of learnings. I can keep.
But just a follow-up, small follow-up. So gold-plated
frames, yeah.
the frames work in online
South.
as well in South?
Yes, very well.
So there is overlap in terms of
Yeah,
what
but
you're selling
you
in the
cannot
catchment.
position on the front shelf, right? In South front में आप दिखाओ और inventory ऐसे move करे. Fast moving SKU है हमारा. While UP में वो idle SKU है.
Yeah, got it.
Sandeep, your experience has been with a single brand like a Marks and Spencer, then food with Jubilant, and now a multi-brand across multiple formats. What are some of those aspects which can drive loyalty and retention, and how are those different across these different categories?
Okay, so I think it's customer service, like I mentioned in my previous note. It's all about customer service during the purchase, post purchase, during returns, during any touch point. If your customer service is frictionless, I think the customer will stick to you for long. The only difference in the categories is that largely Marks and Spencer being a single brand, the brand attracts more than anything else. Multi-brand, of course, the customers are there for a family shopping. They can shop with a group, so that's a little different. But food is an area where the tolerance level, the entire cycle closes in, let's say for Domino's, in 30 minutes. Here the cycle is longer. You buy something and you use something after a few days, and then you have a problem, and it could be over weeks or days, and it's for longer retention. But in a food, the entire cycle closes in 30 minutes. So the kind of systems or the kind of customer service you need to have is very, very different. So, and of course, the tolerance level, like I said, you're hungry and your food is delayed, you're offering 100 rupees coupon off. Some people may take for it, but as a consumer, I would say, sorry, I'm done now. I'm going to try some other channel for ordering, because I've ordered for an occasion. I was actually very hungry. So now 100 rupees coupon is not going to fill that gap. So that's one difference between the formats. But at the end of the day, it's how you design the systems to, make sure that they're able to handle the loads or the automation, whether you're offering the refunds through bots or, through automated channels. So that's what we tried. If you're late, the refund automatically comes. You don't have to claim for it in sort of pilots, and that works pretty well. Customers, really appreciate, and they stick longer to you. And we have seen a correlation. A poor customer service will spoil the experience of a customer to an extent that a very, very loyal customer, you end up losing. And then, we actually handpick these certain cases, we have a discussion and we win them back. So winning back is something we have done. I mean, in all the businesses I've worked for across their life cycle. So we pick up the data and we see why customers have fallen. And it is usually because of a poor experience. That's the only thing that they bring. And if they don't get that, then rest of things is meaningless. So winning back through data and it's more important than anything else. So I think the customer experience in all touch points and winning them back using data is what works across all the formats. Only the time limit between a food and a non-food category is where things are different.
Thanks, Sandeep. Lokesh, let me come to you. As Harsh mentioned, right, Kaya has both the services part of it as well as the product part of it. Just wanted to understand from you, from a continuity of customer journey perspective, how much of the customer journeys continue from your services to the product, offline versus vis-a-vis online, where is it overwhelmingly directly onto the product, and are you able to bring back to on the customer side? So how does that really happen, and are there any breakpoints in your customer journey on both ends?
So it happens from both the sides. So the customer who are opting for a service, they eventually buy a product also. And we also propose it because it's improve the efficacy of the service. So that's our business model. So service along with a certain regime will always give you a better result. And that's what we propose. However, what happens is over a period of time when the customer service ended, then she's open to buy any other product. So then it becomes challenge to ensure that she continue to buy her product, continue to be on the same regime. So we achieve that with various marketing CRM campaigns. We run certain campaigns where we know that this probably while will last only for a month. So before a week, we will trigger a message that your product must be ending. Would you like to shop? And that's where we introduce our e-commerce. So that's where we ensure that continue to there. They don't necessarily need to visit our store, but we actually want them to visit because that gives an opportunity to cross-sell and upsell. However, if they are not willing to visit, they still has a channel to purchase the same product what they have purchased last time, and continue with the regime. And other thing like if a customer is purchasing on e-com, and if I know in what category she is purchasing, if she is buying anti-aging creams and all, then we run our performance marketing for those customers, especially on the anti-aging segments, so as to convert them and get a lead. So basically impression to click to lead. Those things we try and run the campaign on both the sides.
Thanks. Rakshit, you're in a supremely competitive category, where every year there's a new competitor claiming that they're going to deliver 5 minutes faster than you, 10 minutes faster than you. You have so many different formats. It is a category which is driven a lot by the distribution supply chain as opposed to anything else. In such a reach or an access driven category, how do you differentiate between the customer experience across your formats or even between competitors?
Right. Yeah. Okay. So clearly, as everybody knows, over the last couple of years, a lot of money has poured into the grocery category, and of course, attracting first-time customers is not really hard if you're willing to spend a lot of money or throw away money. Right? What remains to be seen is how commercially viable some of these offerings are, or how do the unit economics work out. So that being said, I think especially in the grocery category, the key really is customer centricity, right? Reliability of experience, making sure you're tracking your key metrics, right? Things that, for example, we measure very aggressively is things like fill rate. Right? We have an internal goal of having fill rates greater than 99.9%, making sure that when a customer has shopped from you, you are able to deliver it. Right? Another metric that we track is the percentage of customer complaints per order. And you can imagine when you're selling fruits and vegetables, which is a very extremely high complaint category, setting goals of saying, let's say, less than 2% of customer complaints. So those are some of the metrics that we chase day in and day out, right? Across hundreds of warehouses, making sure some of these things are tracked aggressively. Leaders are held accountable to deliver these metrics. So I think it primarily boils down to customer experience. Second is having the ability to orient prices to the customer's needs. So we, for example, have invested quite a bit in dynamic segmentation. So based on what you are buying, you might see different offers, right? So, so some of those are the techniques that we would use to drive these.
All right, thank you everyone for having us here. I think we're at the end of our time as well. So thanks everyone, and thank you to the panelists as well. Yeah.
Thanks a lot, everyone. Thanks a lot for all the insights.